Here we have it. AC Moore with the Norskins taking on Estoph, or Estoph. I guess I need to decide right now how I'm going to pronounce it. I'm going to say Estoph. With the High Alps. So let's get into it. As always, let me know how the sound and video quality is. Hey, Asem, thank you for the follow. Now we're going to be seeing Marauder Horsemasters, looks like 3 of them, on the left flank for the Norskins here. We're also going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 Marauders and 1 Marauder Berserker. Got a unit of Skinwolves over here on the right flank, another one towards the left and center. We're going to have a War Mammoth with a War Shrine. For the caster, we have a Fimir Belfiend with the Lore of Fire, got Burning Head, Fireball, and Kindle Flame. And then for the Big Papa himself, we have Wulfric the Wanderer, going to be bringing Seafang and Hunter of Champions by the looks of it. Got Foe Seeker as well to keep that vigor up. Now, going over to his opponent's army, led by Estoph, we're going to see in red the High Alps. Got Silver and Guard. Looks like 1, 2. Yeah, 2 units of Silver and Guard. We're then going to have 2 units of Phoenix Guard, so some very elite infantry. They're going to have to watch out for those Burning Heads and Seafangs, no doubt about it. We're also going to be looking at 2 Lothern Sea Guard on the right and 2 in the center, so kind of clumped up on the right side of this High Elf army. It looks like they're trying to counter-skirmish these Marauder Horsemasters, a wise decision, I would say. Got 2 Lyrian Reavers in the backlines for that mobility and mass. And then, of course, you have a lot of High Elf Spearmen. It looks like they have about 4 of them. Now, Teclis will be leading this army on his horse. He's going to have Sword of Teclis, as well as Scroll of Hoeth, Bound Fire Convocation, Potion of Shakroy, Regrowth, Flock of Doom, Net of Amintok, as well as Greater Arcane Conduit and Shield of Sapphire. And we will see. There's no big single entities to heal here for the High Elf, so the Regrowth is interesting, and I'm wondering if we're going to be seeing it on top of Phoenix Guard post Seafang, or any infantry unit for that matter. I'm curious to see if that ends up happening. Over here, a beautiful Net of Amintok. A lot of players wouldn't think to use it right here, but I think that's a very good decision. Eliminate some Marauder Horsemasters as quickly as possible, and you will definitely net a lot of good value. And then here, I would just peel one of the Lyrian Reavers off to get in combat with the Horsemasters. If the Horsemasters stay in combat with Lyrian Reaver, they could be shot in the back by the arrows, and the other Lyrian Reaver will just chase them off. But it looks like they're getting close to the map anyway, so the point may be moot, and these Marauder Horsemasters for the Norskins are already off to a rough start as the High Elves chase them off the map. But Horsemaster is getting some good damage in return, but definitely a High Elf favored trade as far as I'm concerned. Now, going back to the infantry here, I'm wondering if the Seafang, because I don't believe it kills models, similar to many other like wind spells or breath spells like that, the Regrowth could potentially heal them right back up, so curious to see that. You know, we don't see something like Spirit Leech over here from the Norskins that actually kills models, so maybe the Regrowth will be used to counter Seafangs in a similar fashion that it's used to counter Fate of Bunas, but we will see. Not a lot of value. You can only see 480p, Shibu? I apologize. I swear I'm streaming it more than that. Now, it looks like the High Elves have effectively countered the Horsemasters, and I like that Norska here isn't getting, you know, over-invested. They've lost 1 Horsemaster. The other 2 have taken very little damage, so they're just going to, like, hold off for now, play it patiently. No need to over-invest early. They still have this option on the backline, and 2 is better than none. But, oh, looks like Teclis almost netted him, but now it's not going to even need a net because they actually held still long enough to take a few volleys to the face, and those guys are going to be staggering, wavering, and routing. So, yeah, Norska now abandoning like the front line assault. It seems the infantry pulling off. An interesting decision. Like, the infantry definitely needs to get engaged here, and they don't want to be getting engaged, you know, in a staggered line. Like, look at this. These guys are going to hit at completely different times, and that's going to allow the High Elves to just like pick and choose who they want to eliminate as they come in. For instance, all the archers right now, if they really wanted, could target these infantry and just eliminate them, but I think a Net of Amintok is going to be imminent on top of one of these mammoths. More than likely Wulfric, and I think it is coming right now. And now we have 4 Lothern Sea Guard in range of Wulfric the Wanderer, and he's going to take a lot of damage. That net does last 20 seconds, so we'll see what happens over here. War Mammoth the War Shrine getting in combat with the Silverin Guard. We'll see how that does. Oh, Seafang going down here across the Spearman line. Oh, it's going to do from friendly fire too, though. Look at that. It actually missed the Silverin Guard completely and just destroyed the Marauders. So actually a pretty bad trade for the Norskins. But here comes a Burning Head, finishing off some High Elf Spearmen for sure. And now it looks like it's actually going right through the Silverin Guard, who are taking a significant amount of damage from it as well. Now, over here in the backlines, we see Skin Wolves eliminating Lyrian Reavers. These Lyrian Reavers need to get activated ASAP. They need to start moving, but it looks like they're going to be idle and get taken out by the Skin Wolves, just like their compatriots. They're trying to move now, but I think it's too late. Other Skin Wolves are inbound to block off their escape. Over here, Fimir Belfiend coming around towards the backlines to help support the Mammoths, and my big concern right now is we're not seeing enough damage done on top of these Mammoths yet. Over here, Burning Head. Oh no. Fiery Convocation going down, but they're going to be able to easily dodge it because the cast time for Fiery Convocation is absolutely impossible. There's like things like Penumbral Pendulum that are almost impossible to dodge, and then there's things like Fiery Convocation that's almost impossible not to dodge. But now things start to be looking bad for the High Elves. Over here, it looks like the Phoenix Guard going to narrowly escape a Burning Head that would have landed on top of them, but now they are really in good health. So I mean, the High Elves, as long as the Phoenix Guard are full health, which they are right now, I think they have a chance. And we've only seen one of the Sea Fangs, I think, so far. So second Sea Fang may be coming down soon, but it will really be dependent on that, I think, because Phoenix Guard, unless they get Sea Fanged, I think Norskins might have a hard time against them. No, you're the one I wanted. Wolfric the Wanderer. Okay, 3 Sea Fangs. I always forget there's 3. They should probably limit it to 2. Over here, Teclis netting Wolfric in place, but Skin Wolves are intercepting him. He needs to get out of here. Over here, Potion of Shakroy going down on top of him, giving that 44% ward save, which is huge right now, and restoring some of that HP. Spearman getting intercepted, though, and now Teclis stuck on Skin Wolves. Mammoth over here, it's getting surrounded by Phoenix Guard, and you can see they do work on top of these Mammoths when they're actually stuck on top of them. Over here, a Sea Fang is going down. Will it be good? No, it's going to be a swing and a miss. Is it going to hit here? Oh! It barely hit him. barely. And there's 2 out of 3 Sea Fangs, so we'll see. The Mammoths could cycle charge them to death, especially if they get enough infantry grouped up around here at the end of the battle. But Teclis is alive. He somehow escaped, and now he can retreat on top of these Phoenix Guard, and the Skin Wolves won't be able to touch him. So, yeah, this is the only way the High Elves can do it, and I think right now Teclis is playing it smart, pulling away from those Skin Wolves and Wolfric. Just let the Phoenix Guard do their thing, and heal them up when you need to with those regrowths. Over here, it looks like Teclis is diving into Marauders. Skin Wolves coming in and charging the Lothern Sea Guard. Oh, they're not braced, so they're going to take a lot of damage on that charge and get knocked back. Over here, looks like we have, a Bound Fiery Convocation. Oh, this one they're going to try to dodge, but he kind of cast it further back, but a clever move from the opponent, basically going wide instead of long there, so basically negating the benefits of the Fire Convocation. Over here, both Phoenix Guard really clumped up. You know, the High Elves got to be careful about this, because one way they're going to lose it is if both Phoenix Guard get knocked out with one punch. But, yeah, I don't know. To me, this is looking really Norska favored with the Skin Wolves and the Mammoths, but it just so happens to be that the only units left on the field for the High Elves happen to be exactly what would destroy those units for Norska. But the balance of power is in a very good place for Norska. Gives them a lot of leeway, leadership bonuses. Oh, Teclis may be getting hit right now by Wolfric the Wanderer. There goes a Burning Head. It's going to do some damage, but looks like a regrowth is going down on top of one of the Phoenix Guard now. And look at that regrowth. They still have 64 models. Teclis, he's faster than Skin Wolves, right? Not than the Marauder Horse Masters, though. So now Norska just surrounding the Phoenix Guard, and I think this is where... Oh, no, they're not staying in the combat, though. But the leadership for the Phoenix Guard isn't looking too great. I could see them routing eventually. I know they have ITP. Oh, no, they don't, actually. No immune to psychology, so they could terror rout? Man, I don't even know my own faction. So Phoenix Guard hanging in there for now. Wolfric and the Mammoth are looking pretty weak. But a fireball hitting Teclis, and Teclis cannot be idle. If Teclis falls, the leadership is just going to crumble across the High Elf ranks. And he just needs to stay alive. He has more speed than the Skinwolves. What do they got? 75? He's got 78? Okay, never mind. Not by that much. Now the Skinwolves are on his tail. Phoenix Guard just not looking too good right now. These ones with that regrowth looking very healthy. The other one's down to 40 models. War Shrine is going after Teclis, and Teclis is turning towards Wolfric right here. Gotta be careful. This has been a very good fight to both players. I mean, the Norskins... Oh, there goes the Sea Fang. The High Elves aren't going to be able to dodge it. A lot of damage going down on top of the Phoenix Guard. Burning Head coming in now too, and I think that's going to be it. Leadership penalty from the burnt should be enough. These guys are just like brave as hell, I'll give them that. Terror kicking in finally. And the Phoenix Guard are no more. And looks like Teclis has the Hunter of Champions on him. And these werewolves are coming to tear him apart. Oh, gotcha, Shibu. Fair enough. I wish you best of luck in getting better internet soon. I've been there, mate. Oh, and that's a bad miss. Yeah, I feel like corner view. Hey, Slayer, good to see you, man. But yeah, I mean, looking here, the Fimir Belfiend, crazy good value there. 2,300 gold netted, almost 20,000 HP dealt in damage. Wolfric, same thing. Really doing well for himself. And the War Shrine, too. I think we can't really underestimate how important the buffs there to the leadership and stuff were to the nearby Norskin units from the War Shrine abilities. And Skinwolves just really, I think the main thing they had going for them there is there was really nothing to force a bad engagement for them. And what I mean by that is AC Moore there recognized that, you know, the only thing the High Elves had with speed to pressure Skinwolves would be Illyrian Reavers. And Illyrian Reavers are not going to stand a snowball's chance in hell against Skinwolves. And as far as the infantry goes, yeah, Skinwolves would get wrecked if they stayed in sustained combat with any of these High Elf infantry units. But that's if they decide to stay in combat, and I think he just utilized them well. Only charged into units that weren't facing them or that weren't braced, you know, if they're in motion charging towards them. And got a crazy amount of value from him because of that. Infantry doing okay, but I mean, I do want to shout out the High Elf infantry. I mean, the Spearmen got clobbered as usual. The Phoenix Guard here, both netting a good amount of value and paying for themselves. And got to keep in mind a lot of value was on Mammoths. So I think these guys were single-handedly, once the Bowmen were out, that is, taking down those Mammoths. But great first battle. Let's go ahead and throw up that blocker so we don't spoil anything for round 2. Also, before I forget, let's update that scoreboard. So let's cover the armies. AC Moore with the vampire counts here in yellow, but blue, you all know what it is. In the replays, it shows up differently than live. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units of zombies. Also going to be seeing 1 Crypt Ghoul. Got some Skeleton Spearmen here. Blood Knights, 1, 2, and 3. Healthy serving of Blood Knights. The Dire Pack Wolves to support them. Excuse me while I sneeze. Okay, there we go. Sneeze is done. And going over the rest of this vampire army, we do have a Mortis Engine, the double White King with Scabsgrath combo, Manfred von Karstein with his full, typical loadout, Invocation to Hex, Summon, Spirit Leech, and Black power, the orb of black power, black orb of power. I cannot remember what it is called, but it's something along those lines. Master of the Black Arts. And anyways, I don't know where I got orb from. We have questing knights diving into the vampires. So 1 second, everybody. I just confused myself there. That sneeze actually knocked me unconscious for a moment. So let me regain my footing and cover the remainder of these armies as they begin to clash. So for the vampire counts, I think I've covered everything. Now let's start with Bretonnia, starting with the units that have crashed into the front lines, smashing some zombies. We have questing knights to start with. Over here, we're going to be seeing another 2 units of questing knights. All of them diving in and now trying to retreat from combat before these blood knights can hit them in the rear. And it looks like it may be too late for some of them who are already coming to grips with the vampire foe. For the remainder of the Bretonnian army, we are going to be seeing right here the Companions of Quenelle, accompanied by the Fey Enchantress. So let's go ahead and fix that really quick, you know, why not? The Fey is here. The Fey should be on the banner. Now, for her kit, she has the usual Favor of the Fey, Regrowth, Shield of Thorns, Earthblood, and the Mist of the Lady with that Arcane Conduit. Now, for the infantry, the Bretonnians are going to be bringing a whole lot of peasants. We got 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then more peasants. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 peasant men-at-arms. And let's get some close-ups of these noble peasants. Over here, we're going to have the peasant bowman. Looks like we have 2 fire arrows against the undead, and actually a third pox arrow going to be sitting in the back line to make that 4, because I'm just too close and I'm not noticing things. Now, the hero squad isn't done yet. We do have Gotrek, the legendary dwarf slayer with heroic fortitude, and then we have the paladin with guardian and nothing else. So that rounds out our 2 players' armies. Let's go ahead and get back here to where the action is juiciest and hit play. Alright, Dire Pack Wolves are diving in now, and that's going to make it even harder for the Bretonnians to remove themselves from this engagement, as the speed on these guys is going to prevent any retreat. Over here we do have the Companions of Quenelle giving a counter charge into the side of the Blood Knights, doing quite a lot of damage. A beautiful charge here. And now Peasant Bowmen are pouring in fire. And the Bretonnians are in a position now to where if they pull these guys back into combat here against the Direwolves and maybe charge in against these Blood Knights with the second unit of Questing Knights, they could potentially eliminate them while the other Blood Knights are occupied with the center engagement. However, the Bretonnians cannot forget that there is a third wave of cavalry coming from the vampire counts here, the Direwolves and Blood Knights coming around the rear. And there's really not much back here to protect it. You know, there's no spears, no cavalry. All the cav is tied up in these front engagements. And I don't know. We'll see what happens from here on out. But right now, the Bretonnians may be off to a rough start. All right, Dire Pack, hurt but not dead. Blood Knights, oh, they just barely hung in there at critical binding now. So they are, you know, available for an invocation from the Heck to resurrect those units and get back to full HP. Over here, the Bretonnians have turned around to face the back line, and now they do have their 3 full units of cav in lance formation diving into the Blood Knights, and they also have these men-at-arms coming in to assist. Now, I think numbers alone with the chaff here might be enough to give them this engagement, but we'll see what happens. These guys charging in and pulling back out very quickly. Over here, Peasant Bowmen continuing to fire away, and look at that. The Mortis engine has been destroyed, and that is a huge victory for the noble peasants as they see that thing come crashing down. A source of terror and life-sucking. Always nice to get rid of that as early as possible. Over here, we do have the Dire Wolves getting charged by Questing Knights, but the Questing Knights, in turn, have been opened up for a rear charge by these Blood Knights and Dire Wolves. And Questing Knights hanging in there still, though. I mean, you got to give them credit. Right now, the Fey Enchantress coming over here to lend her support. These Blood Knights in the rear look like they're going to be crumbling and eliminated unless the vampires act quickly. And there they go, completely wiped out. Now, suddenly, the Bretonnians are looking much more dominant in this cav game than they were just a moment before. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves. We do see some full health Blood Knights coming in to mix things up with the Bretonnian Cav. And now here it comes, a glorious cavalry charge between the two forces. And this is going to be the engagement that really decides it, I think. Over here, meanwhile, in the infantry engagements, neither side really invested heavily in infantry, but the Crypt Ghouls are probably having a heyday, just chopping through all of these poor peasants. Gotrek and the Paladin also doing well for themselves. Another thing the Vampires can't afford to forget is that they do need to deal with them at some point. Alright, Dire Pack coming in to eliminate the remainder of the Peasant Bowmen, and this is absolutely vital. If they can take out these Bowmen, then it will really hamstring the Bretonnian efforts, you know, to drag down a lot of the Vampire counts over time. That constant pressure from the missile units is really, really useful to help keep units crumbling and lower their leadership. Or vice versa. Lower their leadership and keep them crumbling. Over here, Spirit Leech is going down on top of the Companions of Quenelle. That's going to hurt quite a lot. Like I said earlier, it does kill models, so it's going to be extra painful for a faction like Bretonnia who cannot resurrect dead units. Now, Blood Knights over here just having a heyday, eliminating Peasant Mob. Looks like they're just trying to maybe bide their time, gain as much regeneration as possible from those Invocation and Hex before they commit to a final engagement against the Bretonnians. Man, Lance formation non-stop here from Estoph. I got mad respect for it. It looks wonderful too. Alright, Archers opening fire into Skeleton Spearmen. We got Companions of Quenelle coming out to charge zombies to free up some Peasant Mob. The Vampires just pushing straight through the center. They have, they smell blood and their eyes have turned red, and they are just charging down these Peasant Bowmen, just committed to not letting them come back into the fight at any point. But balance of power is really looking good for Bretonnia at this point. You know, it's not overwhelming. It's still, you know, a match that can go either way. I mean, we have Crypt Ghouls to chomp peasants to bits. You have Blood Knights to win the Cav engagement. And really, it's the same story on both sides, but the big thing for the Bretonnians right now, I think, is their hero squad is still in very good shape and has a lot of capability to dominate, I think, against a White King and Manfred. Maybe I'll be wrong, but time will tell. But it looks to me like Gotrek and the Paladin have already killed the other White King, unless I was mistaken and there is only one. Downside of Lance formation, I guess technically, according to the game, it isn't, there isn't, like, it gives you a charge bonus and a charge speed bonus. But I guess typically in the other games it was that it was harder to pull out and you would take more casualties when you pulled out of combat if you were in that formation. So it was like one of those things where you charge in Lance formation and then go out of formation to pull out of the engagement. Sir Lancelot. Alright, now, going back to the main engagements, it looks like the Vampires taking their time trying to regroup with all of their forces before they commit to a final engagement, and it's the same for both players. They're playing it smart, and I love these kinds of battles that go into these late stages where the two armies start to regroup their forces and decide the best way to proceed. Over here, it looks like the Bretonnians are committing to combat, though. Companions of Quenelle have pushed forward. They have Favor of the Fae with a regrowth, and they're in Lance formation. And as you can see, that Lance formation, acceleration, deceleration, charge bonus, and speed. So these guys are yoked right now. Melee attack at 90. But they are going to succumb to the numbers of the Blood Knights. And right now we have the Paladin, the Fae Enchantress in combat. Gotrek is coming in as well. Over here, the Men-at-Arms are actually outnumbering and eliminating these Crypt Ghouls, which is a very big win for the peasants. I would be happy to see these guys off the field. I don't know. I mean, I guess we have to come over here and see. But, like, right now, it just looks like Gotrek is smacking Manfred down. He's just saying, "Nuh-uh, Manfred. In this timeline, you are not going to live to kill Balthazar Gelt like a bitch." Backstabbing Baldy. Alright, the Fae, gotta keep in mind, guys, she does have a Mortis-like ability, so as long as she's in combat, she is dragging down health from the vampires. We have the Peasant Bowmen now regrouping and actually firing in some supporting fire. They're actually firing against the Blood Knights right now. Blood Knights have been peeled off to go engage them. Paladin is wavering, but Manfred is just really low on HP. Looks like he's trying to remove himself from combat, but the Paladin's leadership has now skyrocketed because he's pulling out. And, yeah, I don't know if that Paladin gets out of there. Manfred's going to be in some trouble. Over here, the Blood Knights, though, are looking quite healthy. Well, not quite healthy. They're tattered, but this one has a lot of room to heal. And we'll see if Manfred hits it with an Invocation of Nehek. But at this point in the battle, I'm sure both players are very, very low on Winds of Magic. Alright, Paladin going to bite the dust right now, and that hurts for the Bretonnians. He does have that Guardian trait, providing that physical resistance for the Fey Enchantress and Gotrek. Blood Knight's going to pull out and go in for another cycle charge as the zombies remain in combat to tie these Bretonnians in place. But yeah, Manfred going to go down below the count. Manny Daddy is out. The Lady of the Lake is in. Not gonna lie, pretty thematic. The Fey Enchantress and Gotrek just murdering a ton of undead, the two of them. They got this. Looks like Crumbling is kicking in, and oh my god, Manfred was alive. I lied. Oh, Gotrek just smashing the White King, and they will be the last one standing, it seems. Gotrek laughing maniacally. Smashed. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Brett Player was very hasty, but it worked out in the end. Oh, I sound different, Optimus Pine? In what way? Do I sound more tired? Because that's probably true. Oh, Shibu getting hot and bothered in here. Alright, so Estoph tying it up 1-1 after a very close, very fun match with the Vampire Counts versus the Bretonnians. Now, looking here at the Questy Knights, I mean, these guys didn't pay for themselves, right? But Companions of Quenelle, holy shit. They really came out swinging, and these guys did get plenty of damage in. Don't want to disparage them, and the Peasant Bowmen, of course, just key against any vampire army. Men-at-Arms actually trading pretty well for themselves, and then you have Gotrek to kill Blood Knights and the likes, and right there, proofs in the pudding, and he got a ton of damage out in value. Same with the Paladin, 1500 gold value, and the Fey Enchantress, that Mortis engine that she is just vicious. And you got to keep in mind too, I'm sure like the favor of the Fays that she was popping down on the Companions of Quenelle left and right were helping a lot. That 40 melee attack blessing is insane. More tired, less happy. That's fair. Yeah, Blood Knights, we're definitely not getting engagements and supporting each other in those engagements and allowing like the big invocation of a hex to heal just them, because like if you have 2 Blood Knights against some Bretonnian Knights and you get those big invocations of the hex, like it really is a tough thing to overcome. That's why Blood Knights are so valuable. And like as you can see here, besides this one in the back line who got very little value, as you're pointing out, the other 2 paid for themselves and more and got a ton of good value. Like they did a lot, not only just like gold value, but also just killed a ton of models, which is important against the Bretonnians. And same with here with the Crypt Ghouls. I like a lot of elements of this army, and Manfred making a comeback in the meta. I see him more and more. And these White Kings, yeah, one of them getting just chomped, I'm imagining, by Gotrek, because I cannot imagine what else did that to the White King. Yeah, definitely. That's why I love this game, because like no matter what you want to say or complain about in mechanics or not, I would argue 9 times out of 10 the reason you lose is because of mistakes you made. Like, and that's what I think is true just in warfare and conflict in general. You often lose just because of your own mistakes more than because your enemy has some genius plan to knock you out. Yeah, good decision making. Bad decisions are why you lose, and that's why the best players are the ones who just make the least mistakes. All right, let's go ahead, and that was the most obvious thing I've ever said in my life. I'm a genius! The best people make the least mistakes! Okay, over here for the Tomb Kings, we have Skeleton Spearmen 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I can count. We also have 4 Tomb Guard. Besides that, we're going to have 1, 2, 3, and 4 Skeleton Archers, including the Blessed Legion of Pakath. We also have Nehekar Horsemen 1 and 2 Ushabti Great Bows holding down that center. For the leadership of this army, it looks like we have Cetra, the Imperishable, with the Roost Incantation of Protection, as well as Jaf's Incantation of Cursed Blades. Also going to be seeing the Restless Dead. Now, that rounds out the Tomb King forces, so let's see what the Empire has brought. And once again, we're going to be seeing Gotrek. We're going to have a front line of swordsmen, and the Sigmar's Sons, Unbreakable Regiment of Renowned Swordsmen. Got 2 units of archers, got a 4th unit of swordsmen over here, and then we're going to have 4 spearmen guarding the rear. Looks like none of them will have the shields. And then we have 4 cannons, in case you were wondering. Yeah, there's plenty of firepower here. Faith, steel, and gunpowder is the main thing they focused on here, but also they brought plenty of faith, because just check out this leadership squad. We got Gotrek. We got an Amethyst Wizard with Spirit Leech, Fate of Buna, and a Power Stone. And then we have Volkmar the Grim on top of his wagon. He's going to be bringing Grand Soulfire, Grand Shield of Faith, Grand Hammer of Sigmar, Banishment, along with the Jade Griffin, Divine Power, and Benediction. No cav, though, in this army, and that is always a concern for me, because you just need that mass 9 times out of 10. So we will see what happens from here. The Tomb King's really going to try and flex their ranged muscles with this huge number of skeleton spearmen. Swordsmen do have bronze shields, but we'll see how they do. Over here, we're going to see that the Tomb Guard, these ones at least, look like they were getting shredded by, what, cannon fire after the Ushabti and Cetra decided to stay out of range. But even the 38 of them could probably take on these swordsmen. But out comes Volkmar the Grim. Balance of power is dead even, and the battle is underway. Empire Swordsmen are going to get up there, take a few swings, and then immediately turn around and run from these Egyptian skeletons. Ushabti Greatbow have now closed the gap and are going to begin firing away. And look at that. The Empire front line is just non-existent at this point. And I think they're about to get bulldozed, is my prediction. We will see what happens. Oh, beautiful banishment from Volkmar, though, smashing some of these, or I guess sending some of these skeletons to another dimension. Over here, going to see the archers continuing to fire away. We also had a crossbowman unit I failed to mention. But maybe I'm underestimating the Empire here. The Tomb Guard, a lot of them are in tatters. Looks like 2 of them are about to be eliminated. Another one getting hacked to pieces by Gotrek. And you have Volkmar the Grim here to help out against him. So it looks like he may prove to be enough to deal with this. But over here in the back lines, Nehekar Horsemen trying to take advantage of that mobility, but failing to get through the Empire defensive line. It looks like they're very well formed and reacting nicely to the skeletons. And over here, you see here, Spearmen were trying to get baited way out of position, but now they're pulling back, getting into a better position, hopefully takes up some defense, and they need to turn around before they take a charge from the Nehekar Horsemen in the rear while in motion. That's pretty much the worst thing that can happen to you. And over here, it looks like these guys are going to get charged by Cetra. Over here, Nehekar Horsemen now diving into the cannons. Looks like both of them seeing their opportunity, and bada bing, bada boom, that might be 1,600 points down the drain for the Empire, and actually make that even more, 1,900, because the Hammer of the Witches is 1,100 points. Cetra the Imperishable is looking like he may be perishable, to be honest. He has half of his health down, but, you know, he's still in the fight. Still has plenty of passive regeneration from his casting ability. Fate of Buna just getting thrown down right now, and I'm trying to see which unit it was. Oh, it was Nehekar Horsemen. So, yeah, that's a fair way to go about it. Over here, Grand Soulfire going to add insult to injury, and the Nehekar Horsemen are dead to rights. Ushapti summon inbound. There it is. And the cannons are silent. The gunpowder aspect of this Empire army has been shut down, and I don't even think we hear any whistles of arrows besides the undead skeletons firing in. Just looks like the Empire, I think, overinvested in ranged power. 2 archers, a crossbow, and 4 cannons, including the ROR Hammer of the Witches. It's a lot of money to invest in and protect, and I think this Tomb King army just going cheap and wide really paid off. But here comes a banishment. Volkmar ain't done here, and wow, another beautiful banishment. I have to say, these are some of the best banishments I've seen in a while, and yeah, well placed, and also just having a fairly decent direction before veering off into no man's land. Alright, Amethyst Wizard getting eliminated along with the cannon crews, but Gotrek is inbound and he's smashing into these Ushapti, and their summon may be running out soon. Over here, it looks like Volkmar the Grim trying to run behind this rock formation and protect himself. That actually will work if he just, you know, kind of hugs underneath it. But all the Tomb Kings need to do is, you know, maneuver around to keep him in range. Yeah, see, the rocks are blocking some of these shots from coming in, but he's just too far out. And, yeah, I don't know. Unless the Empire can pull something off really crazy here, this is the Tomb King match to me. As a matter of fact, yeah, I think I could just call it from here, because Gotrek can't pull this off by himself, and Volkmar the Grim is just too weak right now, and the Tomb Kings have too much ammunition to shut him down for good. But you know what that means? It's cinematics time. And what a wonderful game between these two players. Yeah, Lore Fire is wonderful against Tomb Kings, no doubt about that. Oh, Gotrek gonna go down in the, you know, just most shameful way. They just shoot him down with arrows. They don't even give him the glory of dying in melee combat. Those bastards. They scared. They scared. But no, all things, I mean, I'm just losing my train of thought. Wonderful game to AC, to AC more with those Tomb Kings. So quite a convincing victory once you got to the mid-game. I think it was just in the initial battles, you know, wasn't sure where it was going to go. It was really all about the cannon play. And I have to say, I think the key to victory there was the Tomb King advance. I think AC Moore kept well-dressed lines. He kept his hero, or his lord, Cetra, and the Ushabti great bows out of range of the cannons until all of the infantry were in range and engaging. And, with just like relying on the archers and the foot soldiers to move forward, it was a clever tactic, and I think a good understanding of what the situation was on the battlefield. I think he very much recognized what the situation was, and that really, if he ran into this head first, 4 cannons could melt. I wouldn't even want to see how quickly Cetra would melt the 4 cannons. It would probably be disgusting. But he didn't give him the opportunity. So, well played, and a GG to both of these guys. I mean, Cetra not even getting a ton of damage because of that choice, but honestly, him staying alive was more value than him getting kills. So, other than that, Tomb Guard, some of them going to be shut down pretty hard by the cannons, but the archers really coming in there with the Nehekar horsemen and cleaning things up. The Ushabti great bows, I think, clearly responsible for Volkmar the Grimm's demise. And just well played. I mean, I just think, like I said, during the battle, you got to cut something out of this. At least get the Hammer of the Witches down to a regular cannon, and then with the extra 300... Well, I guess that's not... Yeah, with the extra 300, you can figure out a way to squeeze another unit in here. Get rid of the extra 300, get rid of the crossbows, and invest in an Empire Knight. Anything to help counter Nehekar horsemen, something like that. Because, Nehekar horsemen can mop up infantry, and that Fate of Buna really did delete this one very convincingly. But the other one, kind of ran amok and got a lot of value, and I do think having that Empire heavy cap there is important to help out. And then also with the Ushabti too. Ushabti, if they're focusing on Volkmar and you have an opportunity to get your Empire cavalry in the back line, first of all, the archers aren't going to do crap about them. They have shields and they're heavily armored. And second part, once they close the gap, they will shut down Ushabti too. Ushabti with great bows won't win against an Empire Knight. So, yeah, in my opinion, you just need more protection here. You need some mobility and you need some protection. And then once you figure out if you're just going to dominate in the ranged fight or not, you can then convert that unit of cavalry from a protection defense unit to an offensive unit to go out and hunt down skeleton archers and Ushabti great bows.